I see it, the messages, they still disappear in they still disappear in a relatively short period of time. Julie TV has W. Oh, okay. So when you swipe on the screen, now you get a considerable amount of more. Oh, whenever you hit the, okay. I see now. When you swipe down, but it still doesn't let you go back but so far. Well, I guess I don't have that many comments right now. All right. All right. Yeah, you can go back, I guess, to... Huh. So I guess we got to do the each one, teach one all over again. And post this to the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the Twitters all over again. Hit the like button, of course. But you know, the question for today was, of course, you know, if anybody has any questions about anything that we've been dealing with, now's the time. But the question for today is, are all myths falsehoods? You know what I'm saying? Do I have any suggestions on how to approach the 140? All right, this is from Knowledge Allah. Shout out to Knowledge. Thanks for that. What do you call this again? Oh, yeah, Super Chat. You know, that support is greatly appreciated. But when you say how to approach it, you mean in terms of understanding it, or in terms of learning it? I mean, it's just plain old fashioned, you know, hard work. You know, like, you know, it's like building, you know, a house or building a skyscraper. You know, nothing is really going to change about the science, you know what I mean? It's just more, you know, it's a bigger building that you're building and everything. You know, you're going to need more concrete, you're going to need more paint. But, you know, in terms of, you know, digging a hole for the foundation, pouring the concrete for the foundation, you know, making the frame, et cetera, et cetera. You know, there's no magic. There's no tricks to it. As far as I can tell. You know, a lot of things do come down to, you know, for different people, you got to find what is the best way for you to learn. you know, and that counts from all things from, what is the best time for you to study your lessons. Some people is, like I found it helpful to study my lessons, making studying my lessons the last thing I did before I went to rest. You know, some other people might find the morning time very good. You know what I mean? But yeah, like somebody said, just repetitions of it. The Brownsville method. And one thing that is a little bit of a hindrance, right now, is that because the nation is the physically our locations. You know what I mean? We around the world now, so you don't have the practice of being in the cipher. You know what I'm saying? Where, like I said, you're having the knowledge reinforced in so many different ways. You know what I'm saying? Like when you studying it, and you got the degree, and you reading it, your eyes is one of your senses. You know, your eyes is actually a part of your brain, but I'm saying that, your different senses, they interface with your brain. This is how your brain brings in information. You know what I mean? So once you read it, that's one way that you learn it. When you speak it, this is two other ways that you learn it. The actual muscle memory of your mouth and your tongue, et cetera, that's forming the words. This is a way that you learning it. You know what I mean? Even in terms of most of the sound that people hear, right? When you speaking, the reason why you always sound funny to yourself when you hear yourself speaking is because you hearing yourself a lot through the vibration, and not so much from the sound traveling to you, but the vibration of the sound being made inside your head. And so that's why sometimes, you say something and it don't feel right because it didn't vibrate the same. You said some other words that vibrate on another frequency. You know what I'm saying? When you in the cipher and you hearing other brothers speak it, that's another way that you learning it through your ear. You know what I'm saying? When you dealing with the experiences, that come with the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Meaning like, you're building, it might be today's degree, right? And, there's an event that's surrounding the degree. You know what I mean? For instance, you might be building on today's degree and, the temperature gets turned up. You know what I mean? In terms of the hot seat, somebody gets bombed, that whole experience, you know what I'm saying? On a particular day, you might, something happen that has an emotional impact on you. You know what I'm saying? That emotional, that's another way that you're observing the world. You know what I'm saying? That's another part of the observation of the world and of an event. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning like a baby could be born, right? Like right now, we all know that at some point during the day, a baby was born. But because we don't have an emotional connection to that baby, we don't really recall it like that. You understand what I'm saying? to whereas you recall the born days of people that you've celebrated their born day with them, and and that emotion is a part of your recollection. You know what I'm saying? Or that's another thing too. Some days you was the one who got bombed. So of course that one should stand out to you. You don't want to be getting bombed, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times on the same thing. So that's one thing that it's different, from the days when I was growing and developing with 120, that you had all those other kind of ways for the knowledge to be ingrained in you. You know what I'm saying? And also just in terms of, in anything that you're dealing with, if that's the only thing you have to focus on, time begins to kind of stretch. You know what I mean? Work seems a little harder, meaning, you could be taking a trip somewhere, right? If you got somebody that's riding with you on that trip and y'all in the midst of a conversation about something that y'all are interested in, right? Then the trip don't appear to take as long. You know what I mean? So when you coming up and you in a cipher with a lot of different brothers and y'all interacting, you kind of in the moment of each day, as opposed to you just sitting back, observing this on your own. You know what I mean? Like I said, for me, dealing with the Brownsville method was easy because the amount of ciphers that I was in every day. So I could deal with the Brownsville method without really even having to think about it. So getting back to the question, right? Are all myth, right? So it could be some partial clues to the mythological stories presented. I can't say that it's entirely actual facts. It could be facts dressed up in a fantasy way. SW said, I won't say it's all false. My understanding, a lot of it may be over embellished or undertold. Do we even know the creator's intent of mythos? We all may be misunderstanding it from student to scholar. Um, Nah, the 1 in 36, that's one of those practice things. Just like you got certain degrees that you got degrees that inside the degree it repeats. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so it's just practice. You know what I'm saying? Because the earth belongs to the original man. You know, the original black man is God and owner of the earth. You know, the only thing that's gonna keep you from mixing those two up when you quote it is just the practice of quoting it. I mean, you gotta remember the quoting of it, just like we say, look, being able to quote it is, that's not understanding it. You know what I'm saying? It's a basic level thing. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to a lot of basic level things, it's just a matter of repetition. You know what I'm saying? It's not uh, something that is really takes a lot of mind power. It just takes brain power. You know what I'm saying? It's a learning how to quote it is a physical thing. So it's training. You know what I'm saying? And if you train hard enough and long enough at anything, it'll become a natural reaction. Mythology is like an allegory, so it has truth within it. However, it's not meant to be taken on face value. So I would say not all mythology is false. As W said, plasticity in biology, the adaptability of an organism to changes in its environment or differences between its various habitats. And how that relates to this is that your brain, when you learn different things, when you learn different skills, that's a way. Your brain has to develop in that way. You know what I'm saying? When you pick up a different skill, the map, the actual map of your nervous system changes. The amount of nerves that you have, uh, you know, in your brain, the amount of nerve endings that you have in your brain, the amount of nerve endings that you have in the particular part of your body, that cause your movement to be even more precise. This is a part of the plasticity that you develop. Uh, this is a part of the plasticity that's in the body. You know, for your body to actually learn things. Mr. Mr. Greenwood, Mr. Greenwood, you missed your whole time. You missed your whole time as Mr. 120. You got. So you said you've been going through the culture degree and was researching the 2,200 miles and came across Thrace, Greece, which is a name rooted in Greek mythology. Thrace is in Greece? I thought Thrace was like Hungary or Romania, one of those places. you find it very interesting that I'm dealing with this question today? What what is what's the science with what is peculiar about that question today? Right, Greece and Thrace is to my knowledge two different places. Right, while you're working, quote your degrees. You could do them mentally or verbally. But like with all kinds of training, you gotta, one of the first things you gotta do is actually set aside time to do it. Infinite mind. You gotta, that's one of the first things. Whatever if you want to learn martial arts, you actually have to set aside the time to do it. You know what I mean? Time is a measurement of motion through space. So, uh, you know, time is infinite. So, making time is a little bit of a strange phrase, but you actually have to set aside the time, or what they call make the time to do things. You know what I'm saying? You gotta like kind of set that priority. Yeah, you missed the whole thing, Mr. Greenway. Be righteous. Be righteous is Mr. 120 right now. Thursday. All right, I gotta see if Sunyez is what Sunyez is doing. If Sunyez is coming through. But I mean, he ain't got no problem being at the school. Most definitely not. Edward Green said, can definitely make time. Time is a concept. All right, he said he's gonna be there. All right, let me check it out. But Mr. Green one, you said you find it interesting that I was dealing with that or this question on today, because of course, all right, Brain Elevation said I go through 120 once a week on my commute to work. I break them up in segments. Yeah, I mean, if you got something that you're doing like that, like 120 takes a little bit less than 30 minutes to, uh, you know, quote without, leisurely quote. So yeah, if you got like a commute or some of that nature, that's definitely an excellent time to deal with your studies. But no, I didn't think it was peculiar. I mean, because uh, this topic also came a little bit out of the comment section where a brother So the wordsmith said it takes him 25 minutes. A little less than 30 minutes, you can leisurely quote 120 lessons. But one of the things that came up in terms of Rob Bourne, shout out to Rob Bourne, but some people wanted some clarity in terms of what he said about, or what's his stance on Yaqub. We've had other discussions where we spoke about what's our stance on Yaqub and other individuals whose experience in history is not recorded in a lot of places. Like when we read the Bible, right? The Bible was written by the Romans. And so, a lot of the Roman history in there is corroborated. But a lot of the other history, is only spoken about in the Bible. Julia TV said the manufacturing of the devil is in the Bible. So where is the where is this spoken of in the Bible? West Coast Wise said, I see mythology is not always false. Some of our stories were passed down. Is that what you're talking about, Julia TV? You talking about the story of Jacob? SW said, when I was young, anything myth related seemed unreal to me. So I don't get caught into lore. I don't get caught into lore that much, such as the Greek stuff and even Egyptology. Salute to them, though. Not saying they're great, but you can't tell me an ancient ship is a rocket pilot seat because it's pointed vertically. Knowledge Allah said, how is Jacob and the sheep representative of the story of Yaqub grafting the devil? For example, John Henry and his hammer, some parts were exaggerated, but he's a real person. And that, is kind of, where the rubber hits the road on today's degree. Word Yaqub and Musa, in particular, as we speaking on today's degree in the 1 of 14, or if we were speaking on today's degree in the 1 of 14, right? Are they real people? Thrace is a part of Greece, Bulgaria, and Turkey. All right, I know it's a part of Bulgaria. I'm pretty sure there's some distance between Greece and Bulgaria, though. It's the story of Yaqub marrying Rachel. And man, we might have to shift over. We might have to shift back over to the app so some people can come on and speak. But what in particular about his marriage to Rachel is specific to the story of Yaqub. Hey, we got Love in the room. Love is a he's a speaker in the languages that are read between the lines. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the English language. So for instance, right now we got the vaccines going on, right? Peace.
Peace.
Science.
What's going on, baby?
Not
We
much.
doing live out here?
Yeah. What's the deal?
Am I too loud?
All right. But I was gonna go in there. You know what it is? They finally let me broadcast from the app. So I just was sick.
What you got? You needed what?
Need 1,000.
You got your 1,000 now?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I was saying with the vaccines, right? That, they tell us the vaccine is safe, or they say, but you still got to be able to read between the lines. You got to be able to speak in the different jargons. You know what I'm saying? Like we were saying, if you read in medical literature, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to decipher these words. You know what I'm saying? Or even if you go to the doctor, you're speaking just in English when you say, well, look, my stomach hurts and, I'm nauseous or whatever. But the person is not just listening to what you're saying. They're also translating that into their medical jargon, right? To say, okay, these are the things right here. Okay, when I, tie all of this together with a string of my understanding, right, of medicine, this is what I think is the situation with you. And a lot of times when we read in these different mythologies, right, and see, and this is you got to draw this up with the third eye right here. You got to draw this up with the third eye, right? What I'm getting ready to say right here. See, we ask ourselves a question: is this a real person? Right? Now, like I said, you got to be able to draw this up. Is the boy who cried wolf a real person? I'll see how y'all draw that up. So he said, Jula TV said Rachel's father, Laban, Rachel's father is Laban, told Jacob to tend his flock. So he brought the sheep to the river and used a rod to make them change colors. Wait, I didn't delete that. Why does it say I deleted the comment? Mr. Green once said Thrace is a geographical and historical region in southeast Europe, now split among Bulgaria, Greece, and Turkey, which is bounded by the Balkan Mountains to the north, the Aegean Sea to the south, and the Black Sea to the east. It comprises southeastern Bulgaria, northeastern Greece, and the European part of Turkey. That's just from Google and Wikipedia. I mean, I know of Thracians. Thracians was one of the slave populations in Rome. What's his name was a Thracian, if I'm not mistaken. What was the guy that put them under pressure? It was a dude who he started off as a slave, and he became like a leader in the Roman army, and then he had like a revolt of the slaves in the Roman Empire. And what was this guy's name? Spartacus. Yeah, I think Spartacus was a Thracian.
You hear all that?
I don't know about that. Why, you in?
Yeah, I'm in.
But that's what I know about Thrace. Matter of fact, we have the map. Oh, actually, Bulgaria is closer to Greece than it is closer to Greece than I recalled. Yeah, Spartacus, I think, is from Greece. It was a Thracian.
Carl, what the trash bags at?
I don't know why they stopped using the trash bags. Yeah, I gotta talk to Born Black about that. So why you say, yeah, if you the one crying wolf, is the idea the person or story represents that is the jewel, not the mythology itself. So SW said he is a person, but it may be a story, and you also may actually be the one who cried it, regardless of the name. You guys said I would say yes, the boy who cried wolf is a real person because it can be taken in many different ways. So Edward Green said no, the boy in the story is not real, but the scenario can be. The wordsmith said trying to get hung up on something that may or may not have happened thousands of years in the past seems pointless to me. I'm more concerned with the lesson I get from it. Smell Good said they real if we know them or knew them, maybe even were them. 793rd. Yeah, you're right. The dude, right. He was, yeah. In fact, they had a TV show on. There was a TV show on a couple of years ago on one of these cable shows. Yeah, that's Spartacus. Don't tell boy Mastermind. But here's the thing: when we say, "Is the boy who cried wolf a real person?" Right? And like I said, this is a fine mess right here that you got to understand. The boy who cried wolf is a real person because we all know this person. Now, can we track down a historical little boy who did that in proximity of the writer? You understand what I'm saying? See, it's when you deal with an example. Like, that's a whole science of dealing with an example. Like, for instance, if I say, you know, a person could get the knowledge and then fall victim. Now, somebody who's watching this, right, may now go into trying to figure out, okay, who is he talking about? Can we find a historic person, right, that he's talking about? Like, who is he referring to on that day? And see, you may or may not be able to locate a person. You might say, oh yeah, I remember, you know, he used to be around this person right here, and now this person is not a 5% no more. So that's probably who he was talking about. You could try to trace it down like that. Or you may say, yeah, I got no idea who he's talking about. Right? But we know that people getting the knowledge and falling victim, that's real. So like I said, in that same way, you know, can you trace down a historical person that you could identify and say, well, you know, says right here on his birth certificate, his name's Yakub. Says right here on his headstone, made the devil. Can you track that person down, right, as a historical individual? That's one thing. But are you saying that there's not real people out there that's selling people dreams, that's making them other than their own self? Yeah, that's real. That person really exists. And that's where you got to learn to separate, and where now you can begin to apply the language, right, that is being expressed in these mythologies. You could begin to use that language to understand what the story of Yakub is telling you. That person really exists. Those events really occur around us all the time. And you got to learn to separate that, right, from just saying, are these historical people and historical events, in order to get the understanding from these stories. In order to be able to learn something, you got to be able to, you know, a language is a way that you translate and transmit an idea, right, to another individual. You see what I mean? So these stories that's written to translate and transmit certain principles, right, that'll lead to an understanding within these stories when you able to speak that language. You see what I mean? Like, let me give you a good, perfect example. You know, the Build or Destroy decree. You could read the Build or Destroy decree and just deal with, well, it's telling you about, what's it? The clouds, the cirrus, and the cumulonimbus. You could just deal with that. But once you're able to speak the language, right, to really get the full understanding of what that degree is telling you, when it's telling you about the water being drawn up, when it's telling you about the fullest equality that the wisdom reaches, when it tells you about the powers of the sun and moon, you have to be able to speak that language. But you could be, like, for instance, I had read a story about it was a drought going on in California. And the drought had been going on so long that there was some kids that had never seen rain. And this story was telling you about this one kid that was outside, and the rain started falling, and he was like thrown off, like, yo, what is this? What's going on? See, that's a certain face value that we saying that, okay, everybody knows what rain is, or in something that's even more common, right? You have people that have never seen snow. They see it on TV and in the movies, but they've never seen snow in person. So because they cannot personally verify that snow exists, does it mean that snow doesn't exist? And so now, this is what I'm saying in terms of a lot of times from your point of view of you saying that something is a myth, right? A lot of times you basing that on your own experience. Like right now, if somebody is in the park, you just in a regular park playing basketball with other little kids or whatever. The stuff that happens at the All-Star game and the dunk contest sounds, if somebody came that they never seen basketball before, and all they saw was these people right here playing, you was like, nah, man, it's people that could jump up, turn around 2 times, and then dunk it. It's people that could do a 720 and then dunk it. It's people that could do all types of, see, this would sound like mythology. Like right now, if you come to the rally, you know what I'm saying? And we tell you about the days when, it wasn't even standing room. Like I remember, like the show and prove was literally, it was unbearable. And you could be in there for a period of time and then you had to go outside just to get some air. Now, if a person comes and tell you now, or, I saw, it was a video about Los Angeles. And in the video, Compton was like a middle class area. You know, it was the place where people was leaving other, you know, parts of LA that was rough at that time. They was moving to uh Compton as a step up. Believe it or not, you know, at one time, you know, moving to the Bronx for families that had migrated from the South, they first landed in Harlem. Moving to the Bronx was a step up. Like in the late 50s, in the early 60s. Now, if you get there, you know, in 75, 80, 85, 90, or even today, you like, yeah, all right. Like if somebody tells you, nah, you should be a lovely area, man. We should be able to sleep with our doors open. You'd be like, see, these people, they caught up in some strange religion. This is their strange belief system of Shangri-La. So right now, if you start telling people, if we start speaking on the history of the original man, meaning like right now, you know, I haven't been there personally, but if you just go by the, you know, the pictures that they show us and the videos that we see from there, whether it's on the news or YouTube or whatever, right? And they tell you that, look, Timbuktu was once the shining jewel of academia and accomplishment, you know, scientific, mathematical, medical, et cetera, et cetera. People might say, okay, this guy's, you know, he might need to take his medication. See, that's what you have to understand about some things that we consider in mythology as well.
Speaking of, they sold us last week.
Yeah, you need. I gotta call him. We need to come get that stuff out there. What's the name? So, by the time the spring come back, cause there's starting to be too many mammals back there. You understand what I'm saying? Because on some level, right? Even if you look at mythology as fake, right? If you look at mythology as fake, right? Then it's art. It's stories, right? It's stories. It's art. And art does what? It imitates life. It imitates life. But it says middle school history class mentioned a Spartan story of a boy who was of their FOI who died from stealing a young fox. He hid it under his shirt and it chewed his stomach up. He died for living out their culture of not flinching, showing fear, so they made a statue of him. Now see, this is a jump off right here, right? Where you have to be able to speak the language. See, that story is not that a person really stole a fox. See, because I speak this kind of language. You know, I don't get into it a lot because then, you know, you got Mr. Spock, you know, Mr. Spock and you know, Alfonso Brown. They might get me if I but see, this story is not really about a person stealing a fox. This story is about a person that's doing negative, right? And they know they did negative. And they try to hide it, you know what I'm saying? But they can't hide from their justice. This is telling you about a person who do something wrong, right? And then it eats them up from the inside. Now, don't get me wrong, the part what you said about the not flinching and all that, that's right and exact. But on the different layers of it, what it's telling you. It's saying that, look, what you do in the dark is never in the dark for you, though. You still know you did that. And that knowledge that you went this according to who you really are is going to eat you up from the inside. Huh? Yeah. What's the signs? You took the Jess?
Supreme or Black?
Black Jess.
Yesterday. He was in King's Plaza and he had me send born number to him. He said he was trying to buy his computer that got Pro Tools on. Thomas Good?
He supposed to be coming back tonight or tomorrow or something.
But he's still up here.
Nah.
Oh, you want that?
Yeah, I don't know, but he called me
Get what? Get the
earlier.
clothes?
Huh?
Get the clothes?
I
here for a
gotta
minute.
have some more. He got a bunch of cookers.
Okay.
Yeah, I already told him. I said, they having it every week. So he can relax. 'Cause he's like, how long is it gonna be going on? God, Universal.
Okay.
He asked, how long is it gonna be going on? I said, God, it's been going on for a month. It's going on. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Because he said, I got a lot of stuff. God, don't worry about it.
Where's he at?
What you say here?
Give it in.
Okay.
But he's still cleaning out.
Pictures.
He cleaning out the room. So he got
Okay.
What you say here? Pictures of Pritchard before integration confuse the majority of people living. Oh, Pritchard is a place in where, Alabama?
Oh, I didn't know that. Let me get your map, y'all. This way, I can reach out to you. Tomorrow will be bad weather, so we're not having it. So, okay.
But I'm just saying, you know, this in terms of, you know, because like I said, it came up when Rob Bourne was on the channel. Shout out to Rob Bourne and New Black Kings channel. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody put in the comments, you know, it still, I guess, was a challenge about what Rob Bourne said apparently on Shanetta's channel in reference to Yakub and whether he was a real person or not. You know what I mean? And just in terms of, you know, as, you know, you got some brothers on here that's a little bit new in the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? They you know, you just come into the knowledge and you trying to communicate what you about and what this is about to other people. And see, just like I said, with that story right there, where, you know, you could, you know, many people, right, know more than one language. And so when you speak in the different languages, you have to know which language you're speaking in. Like when we speaking to somebody who also knows supreme mathematics, right? We can speak in a particular way because we know the person speaks this language. And by the same token, when you speaking of, you know, something that might be in the Bible or something that might be in 120 lessons, right? In order to really be able to understand what that means, right? You have to be able to speak that language. But now when you communicating it to somebody else, do they speak that language? Like you can be crystal clear in your understanding about whatever it is you're saying, but if you're trying to communicate with somebody who only speaks French, you're not going to be able to get that across. So when we start dealing with a topic such as the 23 scientists, right, or the science of Yakub, everybody doesn't speak that language. And see, a lot of things when people don't speak that language, when they don't understand that form of communication, things seem mysterious. Like there's all different levels of communication. There's some things that can happen where, look, you and a person who's in tune enough to speak on that level, y'all can just look at each other. And what that look meant is crystal clear to those two people. To everybody else, it's like, yeah, they just did something all of a sudden. Yeah, they both did. They both just did at the same time. I don't know what happened. And that's what's happening when you speaking to somebody else who's in this knowledge, right? Who has the same knowledge that you have, you can communicate about Yakub. You can communicate about Musa. See? Because see, even you know, the brothers were saying that Yakub is synonymous with Jacob. You know what I'm saying? In the Bible. You could talk to people who read the Bible, they're not gonna you know, see your story as Yakub is really coinciding with their story. Even though they've been exposed to what you're saying is the same thing, but because they don't speak the language that you speak, right? That's within the, you know, beneath the surface. See, even the kind of accents that you put on a word, right, is a language that you speaking within the language. Like a person can say what? I'm talking about the word what? W-H-A-T. Now, depending on how they say that word what, it can mean totally different things. So that's a language that is within the language, is between the words, between the lines. Then you got the body language. You got other forms of communication. You know what I'm saying? You know, when sunlight shines on you, it communicates with your body in a certain way, and your body responds. But colored people can't speak that language. That's why you have to be able to differentiate, right, between, you know, because see, here's the thing, and this is something that came up before when it came up on this channel, in terms of, well, if these stories confuse some people, why do we keep using them? And that's a great question. That's why I don't speak this language all the time with different people, right? Because you may not be able to comprehend. And that's understandable, that's valid. At the same time, we know that the original people have communicated like this, right? With each other over space and over time, right? With these stories. Like, Elijah Muhammad didn't invent telling a story, right, that embodies certain principles that could pass throughout time and space. And so, is it something that's wrong with those stories and the way they're being told, or is there something that we missing in terms of being able to gain understanding from those stories? Because see, the same thing could be said about us if you're saying that. But the people that's out there, they don't understand the supreme mathematics that we speaking. Okay, is that our fault? Is that the fault of supreme mathematics, or is that because they were made blind, deaf, and dumb by the devil when they were babies? And so, because we was made blind, deaf, and dumb, and we was taught to accept the things that's in these stories as facts, in a literal kind of way, meaning, we've been taught to expect that heaven and hell is two geographical locations that's not right here. We've been taught to accept that God is a righteous but unseen being that exists everywhere, literally. Is that actually the issue, or is that history of, embodying principles in a story, right? And then teaching that story to everyone as a way to get those principles across? Is there something wrong with that, or is there something wrong with our education in this day and time? District 120 said, I don't know why people think we're the children of Israel when Jacob's name was changed to that. When I point that out to Christians, they tend to look puzzled. It's like they forgot Jacob's name was changed. Well, they never knew. When it comes to Christianity, if you want to find the people that know the least about Christianity, it's going to be Christians. Christianity is not a very scientific science. You got to remember that throughout the history of Christianity, people trying to show and prove that Christianity was right or wrong, right, was not very acceptable. You know what I mean? I'm talking about in terms of the Catholic Church and the persecution that they've, you know, the way they've dealt with the different scientists that have come over time, right, to show and prove whether or not these things in the Bible is true or not. Queen Mecca revealed. See, one thing I like about this though, see, I can see the people that's in the room in the likes now. But I don't like this. I don't like this setup too much. I don't know how much we're gonna stick with this. I mean, I guess it's good for when you out on location. You know, when you out on location and you just need to hit, you know, I might get some type of inspiration of a topic or something.
Why do we run Darkim Be Allah that were from the root of civilization across the Hollow River Desert to the case West Asia is now called Europe?
What does it mean in the EU or
What was
LP?
the EU and RP? How long ago? What kind of life did the devil live in? And how long before Musa came to teach the devil if God?
What did the devil bring with them?
What did the devil bring with him?
Yeah.
What did the devil bring with him? And how long? There we go. That's it.
All right.
Thank you.
You know, but you know, getting into all those different things, you know, what I've chalked that up to, you know, I haven't really done a lot of research, you know, on all the different nations and precisely why. Well, I know why. Because, see, like I said, when you read the Bible, it was written, you know, in the Roman Empire. So the Roman history that's in there and kind of, you know, the exceptionalism of the Romans is expressed in that book. You know, if you read the Torah, the exceptionalism of the Jews is written in that book. You know, and so, you know, anytime you have people identifying themselves, you know, with, you know, an exceptional group that's written in one of these books, you know what I'm saying? Even if we're talking about 120, right? It's because those people want to show the exceptionalism of their people. And so anything that's ever been great, like I said, you know, especially once we get into the romantic level, you know, the first Romans was black, the first Greeks was black. You understand what I mean? Where you're trying to, you know, associate yourself with this kind of chosen people. You know what I'm saying? You know, but basically, you know, the way I draw it up is at different times, in different places, the original man chose to, you know, express who he is, you know, in different languages, you know, through different cultures and customs, you know, depending upon the environment, depending upon depending upon the environment and depending upon the time. Because like we discussed before, the sun and moon have an attractive power on our planet, right? But where you're at on the planet in the time that you're in has an effect on how you're being affected by the sun and moon. Meaning that right now, right, it's just about to turn winter here in North America. In other places, it's about to turn summer. So how we going to express ourselves is going to be different. We're not going to dress how they dressing in the places where it's summer. They not going to dress like we dress. And we in the same time, but in different places. So now throw thousands of years into the mix. We throwing thousands of years, right, of history, and we throwing in, you know, 196,940,000 square miles, right, worth of different places that the truth was manifested. So you're going to get sometimes in some places where they expressed themselves and said, you know, look, you know, we Hebrew, we the children of Israel, we, you know, don't see if it's a good thing Don Bishop is not on here right now, because I'm sure he would have something to say about that, you know. But like I said, you know, you got the different times and places that people have been, and based on their environment, you know, based upon the history that was being lived out in that midst, you know, you got, you know, the children of Israel, the, uh, the, you know, all the different civilizations, Indus River civilization, Amazon River civilization, Nile River civilization, Yellow River civilization. They all dealing with the knowledge and wisdom, right, of the original man since the planet was first found. But the way they expressing it, the languages that they're using, the cultures and the customs that they building, you know what I'm saying? All of these things is different at different times in different places. So I don't really get into it with people, whether we the true Hebrews or we the true Egyptians or the true this or that. Julia TV said you found it. Where did you find it? Nah, I got another app that I use. But yeah, other people come on. I mean, I don't. Is it time yet? Because I was predicting that it would be some other people that wanted to speak, but nobody didn't say nothing. But yeah, we could go to the other app because, like I said, I really don't. This I'm not really. Mr. Spock. Uh, this was definitely one right here. I think Mr. Spock. Uh, you know, I told people that I didn't want to speak on this topic in front of you and Alfonso Brown. Shout out to the original MythBuster. Uh, but you know, this question, you know, is related to the questions that you and Alfonso Brown was bringing up in terms of, is Yaqub and Musa and these different people, are they real people? And what I was trying to express, there's actually a lot that I expressed. You probably had to go back. But, sometimes, you have to be able to separate, right? If something is real from if it's historical. See, I could give you an example of something that's real. You know what I'm saying? I could say, look, if you don't look both ways, the person who doesn't look both ways when they cross in the street is going to get hit by a car. And you can try to figure out, well, I wonder who he's talking about. Oh, he must be talking about this person. And then somebody else could come and dispute that and say, nah, he couldn't be talking about that person because he wasn't there when that happened. Or that happened in a different time when, he wasn't even physically on that plane. You know what I'm saying? So you may not even be able to trace back the historical person, even if it was a historical person. The history of that happening may not be recorded in a place where you know how to find. But that doesn't mean that that's not real. If that person crosses the street without looking both ways, they're going to get hit by a car. It's not going to be no shortage of people that we can say, well, maybe they're talking about this person. And see, that's what happens. When they try to locate, well, who is this person historically, you got a whole list of people that could possibly fit the description. So the actual historicity of the person, that's connected to that specific story. But see, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. This is probably a part because I recall, I can't really say it was you, but I know with Alfonso Brown, he was saying that, why do we continue to use these stories when we know that some people get confused by these stories? That's a valid question, and my answer to that is that there has to be some merit to it as well, because it's something that's been done for thousands of years. For thousands of years, principles have been embodied inside a story, right? That's easy for people to conceive. It's easy for people to memorize the story than it may be for them to, keep those principles on cap in their rawest form. See, I don't know how many of y'all ever heard the Supreme Math song? You ever heard the Supreme Mathematics song? That was a song that we used to teach. I couldn't even put a number on it. It was dozens of little children. If we went to a brother's house and, they had a little brother or sister, you know what I'm saying, you know, that was in that age group, we would teach them the mathematics through the song. And so there's some merit to that. Into having how would you say, you know, things that make the transmission of the knowledge easier. Yeah, the Enlightener is that's also a Supreme Mathematics song. So wait, what is this here? Judah TV said it's Genesis chapter 30, verse 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43. It explains how the devil was manufactured. Yeah, see, we need to get on the other thing. Because I wish, but see, right now, because I'm on the phone, I can't, and I don't have the computer out. But I would like to look that up, because those are actually interesting numbers. You know, besides the 41, 42, and 43. Those are some, you know, we got 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 is, you know, they coincide a lot. You said the Holy Bible placed by the Gideon's version? I don't understand that statement. Right, the art of storytelling versus the science of the principles. You know, what do they call them? The griots, the tradition of the griots. You know what I'm saying? I'm crystal clear today. I guess that's the good part about streaming on here. This is, hold on. Yeah, I guess that's the good part. Is that, you know, I was getting ready to ask y'all that. So the broadcast is actually good in terms of the technically, but I don't know, it's not as much fun as for me. I like it, you know. And then, but you know, we only got the heavy hitters in here now, you know. But like, just in case, if I needed to use Crying Jordan, I don't have it now. Just in case if I needed to use it. Yeah, that's what I should do. You're right. I should be streaming on the phone, and then if I had the computer hooked up, but you still wouldn't be able to come on. People still can't be able to come on. It's chapters 21 and 22 in Genesis that coincide with supreme mathematics and supreme alphabet? Yeah, I would have to check it. I'm not, if we had Don Bishop here, uh, he probably would be able to pinpoint exactly what those say. But well, just for the record, does anyone want to come on? Does anyone want to come on to the live stream and make some comments? Maybe that typing out would be a bit much. Right, Jack King. In fact, because I wanted to discuss that too. I saw some of the stuff on Africa Town. Definitely the questions that I had, it was answered in terms of the people, how much of their history that they retained. Turns out they retained a great deal of it. To the point where some of them even still were speaking African languages. Like saying the last the brothers and sisters that came on that last slave ship still retained their native languages, and they taught those native languages, customs, dishes, etc., to their children in that place, Africa Town. And another question I have dealing with how are the people prospering right now, is a lot of the advancements that they've made. A lot of the advancements that they made. It's the same thing for them where, being a culture within a culture, like they kind of established their own culture right there, which is why they called it Africa Town, because they, once they got free, they wanted to recreate the culture that they came from because they still knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? And now, through association and assimilation, their culture and the prosperity of their culture was, is starting to be broken down. And, the stories that I was seeing was basically of them, trying to make knowledge born, trying to get the knowledge of their culture out there, so that they can establish some ways to keep it maintained. You know what I'm saying? The last one of the things that I seen was that they found the slave ship, like the ship that was used to bring them over here. They found it. The whole story, the way I saw it, is that there was an individual who he made a bet. He made a bet with his friends, I guess, that he could sneak a shipment of slaves into Mississippi, even though it had been, importing new slaves had been outlawed for 50 years. He made a bet that he could sneak a shipment in, and then he sank the ship, as part of the conspiracy, or for whatever reason, and they found the ship, and so now they trying to have the ship raised up and preserved so that they can have like a kind of museum or something, uh, to commemorate, that history occurred, and that culture was born out of that history. You know what I'm saying? And through that, also get some revenue in order to keep the prosperity in that area going, or to reestablish the prosperity in that area. So that was very interesting. I didn't know about that. I mean, of course, I knew about that history. I knew, some slave ship had to be the last, but that specific history existed, I didn't know that until y'all brought that up. So shout out to y'all for adding on with that. I guess what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do this? What is this? You like the story of Joseph? Joseph had a dream that the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed before him, and that's why his brothers were mad. I would have to get a little more into the context, but speaking the language, I understand what it means. You know, it would also be helpful uh, in the understanding to know which, like you said, his brothers was mad, right? Was his brothers older than him or younger than him? Does this song go, one acknowledges the black man, God by the right of birth, wisdom is the woman, queen of the planet Earth, understanding is the babies, the best part of the two, culture is a way of life chosen by a few, power is the energy that we manifest through the truth. No, that's not the song. I mean, that's a good one. I never heard this one before. Um, this one is a little advanced for the kids we was teaching at that time. Like if you old enough to understand that song right there, then we'll see you on we'll see you on the Star Walk. You know what I'm saying? But we talking about kids that's 3, 4, 5, 6. But hold on for a second. Hold on, let's get set up here. We're gonna get set up while I'm setting up. Everybody do the each one, teach one, hit the like button. Share this on your other pages, your Facebook, your Twitter. We're gonna whip out the old trusty. The old trustee. And so everybody can chime in. Everyone can chime in. But in the meantime, do we have any questions we're gonna end this live and come right back with the next live. So that people can come on and comment. You know, and also, you know, just a message to the people, right? If you got a question about something that I'm saying on here, right? Don't call nobody else. Yeah, what is this about? You know, I'm hearing, you know, the other day there's, you know, calls going out about what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I heard it was a, you know, some calls went out as to why I was teaching the 12 jewels. And so, you know, ultimately it's funny because, you know, you obviously did not actually see the video. You didn't actually pay attention. Yeah, I didn't, you know, first of all, you know, I said, you know, specifically at the beginning that, you know, this is not, you know, one of our, you know, foundational lessons, but these are some things that, you know, I've learned through the study of it. You know what I'm saying? And some things that can be applied, you know what I'm saying? What is this? Oh, I gotta put part 2, right? Just so people don't get too confused. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, for me, first of all, you know, look, you teach what you teach. Why you over here worried about what I'm teaching? Some people don't have a lot to do though. You gotta, sometimes we gotta. Sometimes we have to give our brothers and sisters sometimes we gotta give them a little break, shall we say. Kendall Rowland. I'm still over here getting this next live set up. Y'all have to bear with me. But yeah, we have any questions? Well, you didn't miss the whole thing. We about to shift over right now to because this is, I'm broadcasting in a little bit of a new way right now. And so, we was testing out the waters of broadcasting from the YouTube app. So, all right, everyone, do the each one, teach one. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Share this onto your other pages, of course. Your Twitter, your Facebook groups, etc., etc. Real quick. Hold on. Right, Rob Bourne defined myth and its purpose, how the people and what they now call Africa used it. Well, yeah, that's what we was just discussing. You know how this is, uh, first of all, what we define as. Wait, what just happened? Did my thing turn? Yeah, first of all, what we describing as myth, a lot of time is based on our own experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could see, right now, you could see somebody that spent the last, 30, 35 years smoking crack, right? And if you tell somebody that, yo, at one time, this cat right here was the flyest cat in this whole area. He's the baddest basketball player that we've seen in this area. All of the things that he accomplished, man, this guy was on top of the world. See, to the people who just came into the mist, they're going to see that as mythology. You know what I'm saying? As well as, like you said, when you're dealing with just, because we've been, taught to look at things, just in the kind of Western ethos that we in, we've been taught to take these things on so much face value. You know what I'm saying? To look at heaven and hell as geographical places, you know what I'm saying? And not, states of mind, states of being, states of existence. And so, when we read this story, this is our expectation from it. We're not reading this story as something that, okay, this embodies certain principles, right, that we can learn from. It embodies certain principles in the story, makes it easier to translate and transmit those principles over time and over space. See, just like in the science of the knowledge, everybody remembers the stories. Everybody remembers the story. See, not everybody knows their lessons, though. See, when you deal with just the purified part of knowing the lessons, that's a little more difficult. But in terms of the stories of the things that Allah did and the things that Allah said that embody what this is about, that's a little bit easier to remember. What are we? Did I think we about to. All right, so we're gonna go live over here. I don't know if you signed up for the alerts. You should be getting a new alert about right now. We just went live on the part 2 of this, where we could send a link out and people could come on and comment. And sometimes people have things to say that's a bit much to type. So come on to the other live stream right now. It has the same name, just part 2. You know, make sure you share this one on your other pages. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. And I'll see y'all when y'all get to the new live stream. Peace.